It is everybody's favorite ranking system, today's top 5. Please forget what today's top 5 is where Steve and I rank players, teams, whatever the case may be. We put things in order 1 through 5 in a sports ranking system. We are going back to top 5 contenders in the NBA. I know we sort of just did this not that long ago when Joe Law was here guest hosting, but some things have changed in my view of the league, and also Steve is down here to give his 2 cents of contenders. We got a new list. We got a new order. We got Steve here to also participate. Are you ready to look at the top 5 contenders, Steve?
I couldn't be more excited.
Let's take a look at today's top 5. Starting off at the bottom and working our way up as usual, we got number 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I know a lot of people are going to maybe upset, and this is not new from last time we did this, so I won't spend too much time on it. But the OKC, just in my opinion, and Steve's for that matter, they are too young. There are not enough playoff weapons, I guess, in a sense, besides Shea, who I am still not fully bought in on the playoffs yet. I am never buying youth experience in the playoffs to make a deep run. While I appreciate their coaching and I appreciate everyone buying into the system, I just don't think it is going to be enough to out-talent or outperform the other more seasoned playoff teams out west. So I got OKC at number 5.
Listen, I get a lot of hate for having them this low on my list as well. But to me, like you had said, youth doesn't translate. But also, there are so many other teams in the West that are so much more experienced in the playoffs. And you and me have both said when the playoffs start, there is a period of elevate, like players elevate and they need to elevate. And so when those other players in the West that we have ahead of them, when those other teams have players who have proven that they can elevate, it's just, I don't believe that they truly are capable of beating some of those teams in a 7-game series.
And the argument for the team above them, I think, kind of works in the opposite direction of the argument we made against OKC on what matters and what will translate into the playoffs. So let's just go right into number 4. Coming in at number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, look, I'm going to stand on business right now and make my claim right now. The Milwaukee Bucks are making the finals. They are making out of the East, and they are returning for the first time since 2021. And I know a lot of people, just like I had said, everyone is buying in on the Bucks, and we are not. Everyone is selling the Bucks. I'm buying it all up. I'll take all the Milwaukee stock that everybody is selling. When you have an all-time generational player like Giannis and another player who is all-time in his own right, but steps up when it matters in Damian Lillard. Now, I understand they are not the deepest team in the playoffs. I understand Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham are on the coaching staff. But much like we saw Giannis do in the finals, he's going to put the team on his back and carry and will you to the promised land. With the Bucks winning the NBA Cup this year, which I mentioned with Joe, I think that adds an element and is more telling about the league and those teams than we, the outside viewers, realize. And while I respect Boston and I kind of respect Cleveland, not really, what I understand is that Boston was this talented team last year. They are still a talented team this year, but we all agreed they haven't had an easy path. Milwaukee was not the same. And Steve, your number thing with Milwaukee is I have to see it. It's been so long, I need to find something to re-believe and reaffirm in Giannis. I think this is the season they get that done. As I said, I think this is the season they return to the finals. Milwaukee Bucks at number 4.
I mean, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I need to see it. I need to see it. Listen, I have them at number 4 on this list as well, but for different reasons, right? I need to see Giannis do it again. It's been since 2021 that we've seen Giannis healthy in the playoffs. The last 2 seasons, they have lost in the first round because he's gotten hurt right around this time in the league, like in the season. So it is one of those things for me where I believe that a healthy Giannis going into the playoffs might even be able to move to number 2 on this list with the Bucks. But the issue for me is it's literally been 3 years now since we have seen Giannis be able to be that same Giannis that we've come to love in the playoffs, a guy who can carry that team, right? Dame's just got to stay healthy, because the other thing you said that I completely agree with and that I think is the biggest concern for the Bucks is their depth. Outside of Dame and Giannis, we're asking Brook Lopez, Kyle Kuzma, and Bobby Portis to be able to compete with the Celtics in a 7-game series. And the depth and the amount of guys that can hurt you, the Bucks being at 4 on this list is the correct spot for them until proven otherwise.
I mean, we all know the NBA playoffs are 7-game series and not one and done. I think if the NBA playoffs were you play one game and you're done, the Bucks may or may not make this list. But I have a really hard time believing that in a 7-game series, Giannis is not going to find a way or find an extra gear or go to that extra place. And like you had just said, we have to see it.
Do you think Doc Rivers is a handicap to the Bucks in the playoffs?
Slightly. I'm not going to lie. Doc Rivers is concerning. I don't think, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on air before, I don't believe in NBA coaching has as big of an impact as I do like NFL coaching. So while, yes, it is I think it is much more beneficial to have a great coach than it is, going to hurt you to have a bad coach. Does that make sense?
It's fair.
So yeah, Milwaukee number 4. Coming in at number 3, the Denver Nuggets. And again, kind of a backwards argument from what we just said. We had said earlier that it's not always the best team is the team that wins the championship. While obviously Denver is not the best team in the league, I do believe that Jokic is the best player in the league. So while they may have issues sort of like Milwaukee with their supporting cast, with what we have seen from Jokic, especially this past season now, his playoff history is questionable. He has never been someone who, as we just said, like Giannis, steps up, elevates, goes to the extra place. But the way he's playing right now, they are still, only 2 years removed from being in the finals. And if there's ever going to be a time that Jokic answers questions or fills in the blanks for his playoff mishaps, it could be this year with, maybe winning an MVP, maybe having, where teams or, fans and media members aren't as encouraging with the Nuggets to make or win the NBA Finals. If there's ever going to be a time that he steps up and makes an adjustment to his playoff legacy, it's going to be here and now. So we got Denver at number 3.
Yeah, no, very well said. There's only one thing that you said that I mildly disagree with, and I do believe that Denver has a supporting cast that is good enough to get them to the finals and potentially win. And the reason I'm saying that is Russell Westbrook is having a career, like, kind of resurgence out in Denver. Christian Braun is having his best year so far. And they still have Jamal Murray, who, as you and me both know, in the playoffs kind of does elevate his game and becomes much more of a lethal scorer. And then also Aaron Gordon on the defensive side. And Jokic is having what a lot of people are saying, and I agree with, the best year of his career. And I know that statistics don't mean everything, but when I watch how he plays the game, how he's played the game this year, he's a step ahead of everybody. He's playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers, dude. Like, he gets out there and the numbers that he's been able to put up are because he has seen the court so well. As if we weren't already impressed with the way that he plays the game, the numbers now this season with averaging the triple-double, it's things we've never seen. And in the playoffs, I do believe that Mike Malone, they have an and in the playoffs, I do believe that with Mike Malone, they have a leg up on a lot of teams because of his coaching style and the chemistry and culture that he's built in Denver with this team. So Nuggets at 3, great call.
Moving on to number 2 on our list, the Boston Celtics. Now, just like number 5, probably going to be an unpopular opinion amongst other NBA fans and media members. But look, like I said earlier, I respect Boston. Jason Tatum, undoubtedly top 5 NBA player in the league. We have said that Jaylen Brown is perhaps a better playoff player or performer than Jason Tatum. Boston, without a doubt, the most talented roster, top to bottom, 1 through 5. But that was the same case last year. And everyone and their brother said, I don't know, Boston's good, but are they really that good? Or are they good enough to go all the way? Do they have that extra? Now, they did, but it was perhaps one of the easiest passes to the finals of all time. It's the same team. It's the same situation. And by the numbers, they are performing slightly worse. They're not even going to come close to having the record they did last year. But now all of a sudden, everyone's like, yeah, you know what? Boston's the greatest team ever. Now we have the number 2. I'm not going to sit here and say they don't have a chance. They are the defending champions. But I'm not going to, freak out and say that Boston is far and above this clear-cut number 1 contender. So we got number 2.
I agree that Boston is the exact same team, but that still is the exact same team that just won the finals. We can say that by the numbers, maybe they're playing slightly worse. That also works in their favor that the East has gotten a lot better since it was last season. So maybe it's not even that they're playing worse. The East has just gotten better. So Boston, for me, I have said this to you off camera multiple times. I don't know if there's a team other than the team we have ahead of them that can beat this team in a 7-game series. And it's because of the amount of ways that they can just absolutely kill you offensively. I don't worry about their ability to play defense when they can score the way that they can score and as badly as they can hurt you offensively. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps, averaging 20. Then you got behind them Drew Holiday, Derek White, who's having a great year, Peyton Pritchard, who's having a great year. Like, they just have so many guys that on any given night, if one person's having a bad night, you can count on this guy to drop 20, 25 on your head. So it's, for me, you and me had so many conversations about number 1 and number 2 on what team did we really think can beat Boston in a 7-game series realistically. And so that's why I really like them at number 2. And I think the team at number 1 is the only one that can do it, in my opinion.
So are you picking Boston to make the finals out of the East?
Yes. I think that Boston is going to have a very easy path to the East, dude. I don't believe in the Knicks as much as everyone wants to. I don't believe in the Knicks. I don't believe in the Cavs. And the only other team I believe in is the Bucks, and we've already said we have questions about them. I don't have a single question about Boston.
And coming in at number 1 in today's top 5, the LA Lakers. Now, look, when the Luka Doncic trade first happened, I believe, the first sports media member to immediately come out and be like, the Lakers are number 1 contenders. And I gave all this reasoning, all this logic, and I was confident. And then as time went on, and I kept hearing other people, and I was letting outside sound infiltrate the sound. And I lost my way a little bit. I'm now here to tell you the Lakers are making the finals. You will never hear me bet against LeBron James, whether he is 4 years old or 40 years old. I will be betting with LeBron James in the NBA Finals. The heir to the throne, Luka Doncic, who is a year removed from his finals, is now kind of coming around, stepping into his own with LA. Austin Reeves, who had a bit of a slump, now seeming to be coming back around. JJ Redick, who we also questioned and wondered if he was going to be able to get the most or do the best job with this team, exceeded everyone's expectations. And we had just talked about how, like, with Boston walking the East, we weren't sure if there's any other team who we legitimately believed in kind of more or as much as those guys. I don't know in the West if there's a team that I truly believe has all the intangibles, all the talent, all the things going for them at the best time and in the right way more than the LA Lakers. So I got them at number 1.
Austin Reeves is having a career year. He's the dynamic duo of him and Luka right now, with LeBron being hurt, has been nothing short of fantastic. I mean, he is fun to watch. They are fun to watch play basketball right now. And I remember everyone was very concerned about the Lakers' defense when they traded away Anthony Davis. It was like, oh, they're not going to have any defense. He's one of the premier defenders in the league. Jackson Hayes has stepped in and quickly become one of the best defensive centers in the league. And when LeBron comes back with the way that Austin Reeves is playing, the way that Lucas stepped in to like ever since he played against the Mavs and they beat the Mavs, he has been playing some nasty basketball, man. It is fun to watch him play again. It looks like he's found his enjoyment for the game again after that trade. So I don't believe that there is a team in basketball right now that can beat the Lakers in a 7-game series.
And I just was thinking of this now. I was going through teams in my head. I think the Lakers have the best vibe right now of any other team in the NBA. Like they are, like I said, rolling. Everyone is in with the plan. And if like between JJ Redick being who he is with his personality and his
who
coaching
we had
style,
questions about, who we
right,
literally had questions about, and has done nothing but fantastic things since he's became the coach.
right. So between JJ Redick doing his thing with the way he's coaching, LeBron being LeBron, and with Luka, kind of like I said, finding his rhythm and being the fun guy himself, like I think everyone on that team is in the understanding of we are in this incredible position with these perfect pieces that we can really go ahead and do this. And who's more motivated than LeBron, who who knows how much longer he has left to play. And Luka has said that LeBron is his basketball idol. Chance to have a full circle moment sort of with the guy who he looked up to playing basketball. I just don't think there's anyone else in the league who is matching, like I said, the same vibe level as LA right now.
And what more poetic of a way for LeBron to ride out his career than having the next heir apparent to the face of the league on his team winning a finals at the age of 40.
So quickly before we go back through today's top 5, Steve, you are taking Boston Lakers for your finals matchup. All time, 2 greatest franchises in sport, Boston, LA. I'm going with Milwaukee, LA. We will see who comes out on top. But to go back through today's top 5 through 1, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Milwaukee Bucks, Denver Nuggets, the Boston Celtics, and the LA Lakers. Today's top 5.
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.